Well, hello there, and welcome to this episode of the Terri Show that I want to start with a question. Are you having difficulty navigating co-parenting because it feels like you can never get on the same page as your ex? Maybe they're combative or dismissive, or maybe they're even a narcissist. You just want what's best for your kids, but this is still super activating. So maybe you're worried about what your ex is saying to your kids when you're not there. So if you're nodding your head yes, then this episode is for you, because in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the common blocks to cooperative co-parenting. Like, what are they? And how to protect your child from an unhealthy, immature, or narcissistic ex. And I'm giving you ideas on healthy co-parenting, what it can look like, and the boundaries that you can set to get there. So before we get started, if you happen to be new to my channel, please introduce yourself in the comments, because we are a very friendly group. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. You guys, like 75% of the people who consistently watch my videos on YouTube are not subscribed. Hello? If you are one of them, it's free to subscribe. And what I'm providing is free. So please go subscribe, because it helps me and my numbers, and it helps my videos get shown to more people, which is what I really want. So if you watch and you are not subscribed, go subscribe right now. Do it. I'll wait. Okay, great. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The reason you want to subscribe, of course, for people who are new and you want to, hit that bell icon so you get notified, is because I roll out new stuff every Tuesday and every Thursday. And it's for you that I do it. So I wouldn't want you to miss it. Make sense? Anyway, I want to say thank you for all your questions and your comments and all the conversations that we have in this YouTube channel. I listen to each and every single one of them, and I love to highlight them. So this is from Cheryl Lezak, 1260. Under the video, 6 Ways Mother Wounds Manifest and Impact Your Life. Thank you for your insights. I find your work amazing, and it brings a great awareness to what I need to take responsibility for and what belongs to others. Well, thanks for saying so, Cheryl. I really appreciate you taking the time to leave that note. It really does warm my heart. All right, let's move it on into today's content. So, co-parenting. Many of you, I've been getting so many emails from you having difficulty with co-parenting, an ex that you think is difficult or toxic or even narcissistic, asking me for content. So here is your content. Someone wrote in, "He is poison to my soul, yet I need his support to keep a roof over our head, mine and the kids. He's constantly controlling over me, and I respond in sticking up for myself, probably in a weak, not very confident way that ends in an argument. He gives me constant anxiety, stresses me out, and my kids pretty much hate it when we're all together." From one of my YouTube viewers. Someone else asking a question on YouTube, how to uphold boundaries with the father of my son, who's a narcissist, now insisting that he wants to work on our broken co-parenting situation. How do I protect the peace that I have worked for and the healing that I have been intentional about? Do you have any advice for how to protect your daughter against a narcissistic mother? I have to co-parent with a covert narc and want to protect my daughter, who's still a toddler, against the mother. So those of you who are having any of these experiences, just obviously know you are super not alone in the struggles that you have with co-parenting. But there are things that you can do to become more empowered in this situation. So part of it is we've got to set boundaries, right? There's got to be some kind of agreements. And listen, this is what the courts are for, partly. So one thing that I see with a lot of my therapy clients is that they will get a custody schedule, but then you will have the other co-parent always trying to get around the schedule, always trying to change the schedule, always saying it doesn't work for them. And I think that you really have to have an agreement that everyone's going to respect the custody schedule that the court appoints, or whatever agreement that you have. And you really have to stand your ground when the person wants to change it, unless it really is an extraordinary circumstance, right? Most of the time, though, it's the person just changing their mind. Like, a lot of times, if they know you don't have boundaries, they'll want to do whatever is easiest and best for them, even if it's inconvenient for you. And I think even with an ex who's difficult, having some kind of a parenting plan, like being on the same page that the kids are going to have tasks that they do at each house, or whatever the parenting plan is, it's something to really think about, because putting any boundaries in place, what are the benefits of doing that? Why do we care about having boundaries? Is because there's less conflict. When we have boundaries in place, the conflict is less and the communication is better, which is great. And you're not dealing with stuff. It's like reinventing the wheel every day with an ex if you don't have something proactively in place. That increases your stress. Having boundaries in place will decrease your stress. And having boundaries in place, it also is clarity of communication, where it's like, these are the days I have the kids, these are the days you have the kids, you have to take them to dance, I will take them to whatever the thing is. It's being super clear about what it is, which also will decrease the anger, because so much of the time when we have silent agreements, meaning we haven't really talked about it, but this is what's happening between us, like you're starting to sort of roll with whatever decision the other person is making. That's a silent agreement if you're not talking about it, even though you don't want to agree to it and it is not what's best for you. I think when you think about what boundaries are, we're really managing expectations of the other person. And that's exactly what a custody schedule does as well, right? We're all on the same page of who's doing what when. A big part of the problem is that if you don't have something that's in place, you're coming from what would be easiest and best for you, best for the kid, the co-parent, maybe and maybe isn't. But I feel like you have to get clarity on who is doing what when. Another thought about having a toxic ex is becoming unflappable, sort of, ignoring them. One of the best parts of divorcing a toxic person is that you actually can ignore them now to a degree. So once, you have the schedule in place of who's doing what, any day-to-day issues that you have with the ex can really just be a quick text. You don't need to pick up the phone if they call you. You can be clear that my preference is that we communicate through text only and that we keep it to the kids. Like, that's okay to say. And actually, when you're setting boundaries, you will need to say that for that to actually happen. But think about it, because the part of you that may still feel controlled by or afraid of your ex, you have to manage that part. Get into therapy, talk about it, get into a support group. There's so many things that you can do. But your reality, if you are no longer married to that person, is that you actually don't have to do what they want you to do. You don't have to listen to them talk about their problems. You don't have to, if they're being rude to you, you don't have to put up with it. You really don't. So limiting your contact. I think a really important next aspect is communicating in a super non-emotional way with someone, especially if they are difficult. Communicate like it's a business relationship. Every time, any conflict that you have, communicate like it's a business, right? You don't have to cross the line. You don't have to make judgments. You don't have to call names. And I wouldn't, right? When you do that, you're inviting that relationship to go back to the way it was probably when you were married. But you don't want to do that because that's not what's best for you and it's not what's best for your kids. So let's really keep it professional and really treat your ex the way you do someone you treat with the utmost respect. It could be anyone, a boss, right? You don't want to treat them like an underling. Treat them with respect because, again, we're wanting that to come back to us. Your professionalism and your ability to keep it professional will help so much in not having the relationship devolve into what it was when you were married if it wasn't good. And try to communicate in writing only. That I always say this to my clients with a difficult ex. Keep it super limited. Text messages only, as I said at the top, and you can actually talk about that. If you have to, go through mediators, okay? But that becomes exhausting, right? When you're talking about day-to-day life, you want to be able to communicate some, but you really have to look at how you're communicating, what you can bring that will make the situation less volatile. Another thing is don't talk about other things with your ex, right? Keep your communication to your kids. That is what you have in common. That is the reason you are still in touch with them, especially if they're a difficult ex. So we don't need to be talking about an election or politics or anything else, or your life if they're asking you questions. At this point, the rest of your life is really none of their business, and vice versa. This extends to if you have a new relationship and if they have a new relationship. Now, the one area where the crossover is having an agreement that, you're going to wait to introduce kids to a new relationship, whatever you guys agree to as a couple. But I mean, from a therapeutic point of view, it should be, it should be a pretty solid relationship before you're involving your kids. You can keep them out of it because it's really not about them. And if you're really dealing with someone who's difficult, someone who's abusive, this is where you have to bring the legality into it. Especially if they're being abusive towards the kids, then it has to be like a visitation with a guardian there. Like there's all different things that you can figure out, but it's scary to do. But especially if you have evidence of harm, if there's something that's going on, then you're going to be changing the custody agreement to have sole custody with them only having limited visitations. Obviously, your job as a parent is to minimize any traumatic experiences for your children. So that's an extreme case. I hope you're not dealing with that. And I also want you to think about staying on your own side of the street when it comes to parenting. There's only so much that we can do. What you can control is what happens in your house. What you can control is, as much as you can try to have agreements with your ex about having it consistent and having some continuity, the reality is what you can actually control is you and what happens at your home and the way that you do it. If you start getting critical of the co-parent, if they're too permissive, if you don't like this, you don't like that, you can potentially have a conversation with them if it's something that's really egregious. But in reality, as long as the children are loved, as long as their needs are being met, it's okay if they stay up later at the other person's house. You know what I mean? Like, these are things that are not going to make or break the kid, but you sort of bad-mouthing or trying to harangue the other parent about everything is going to make them less cooperative than they already are. And another major thing, you guys, which you know this, but I have to say it. My parents got divorced when I was 13, and they never bad-mouthed the other parent. And maybe it was because we were older, or maybe it's just because that wasn't their way, but there's something really damaging when you talk badly about the other parent to the children. Because remember, they are half that other parent. And it really makes a kid feel shame. It makes a kid feel bad. It makes a kid feel defensive. They feel like they have to defend the other parent because you're talking bad about them. It really messes up. It creates like this split loyalty feeling in the child, which you don't want to do, right? That is not their fault, right? You splitting is not their responsibility. It is the parent's responsibility to deal with, to manage, and to make it a safe world for the children. Michelle Dempsey, I love her advice. She talks about high conflict exes, and that high conflict people do not like being told no or that they're wrong. For this reason, I always advise my clients to harness the power of silence, a boundary in itself. High conflict exes are looking for exactly that, a war. And by modeling peace in the form of silence, you're not only putting out their fire, you're also giving yourself peace of mind and protection and taking your power back at the same time, because silence is a powerful boundary. And I think that's true. We kind of covered that earlier in this episode, but I love the way that she put that, where it's powerful to not get sucked in, right? It's powerful, especially with a high conflict person, for you to be unconflictable, right? For you to not get sucked in. I always say that my power lies in not giving anyone the power to make me act lower than my own integrity level. And I feel like that is really applicable when it comes to co-parenting. So I'll give you a bunch of ideas in the guide, which is terricole.com/guide. If you don't know Michelle Dempsey's work, I will give you her Instagram. In the show notes, we'll give you her Instagram, because I think that she's really right on when it comes to psychological wellness and co-parenting with an ex. I hope that this episode added value to your life, that it was helpful to you. If it was, please share it with the people in your life. Thank you so much for being here. And as always, take care of you.